we'll talk about the mechanical advantage of a Halligan bar. Do any of you remember what the strongest part of this bar is? Anyone? When we do a gap down, which part of the bar do we use? The width of our adz specifically, okay? And we've already talked earlier, how wide was this again?
2 inches.
2 inches, okay? And I want you to think this bar, it's a big lever, okay? And the way you figure out mechanical advantage with the lever is you take the distance of a resistance arm and you divide it into an effort arm. So do you guys remember how long this bar is? 30 inches, okay? So this is my effort arm, 30 inches. This is my resistance arm, 2 inches. My fulcrum is gonna be about here, and the fulcrum is probably my door frame, okay? So if I take 2 inches and divide it into 30, what do I get?
15 to 1.
15 to 1 mechanical advantage. I want you guys to understand why this is important, okay? If, let's say I can put 100 pounds of weight behind this bar when I do a gap down, okay? So if I multiply 100 pounds times 15, what do I get?
1,500.
1,500 pounds of force. So do you see how this bar makes me stronger? I also want you guys to understand though, if I was bigger and I could put 200 pounds behind this bar, that's 3,000 pounds of force. It makes sense how this bar will make any firefighter stronger than they really are. And I also want you guys to understand, let's say you have a really tough door and you're having trouble gapping down because you can't put much weight behind it. How could I increase my weight?
Just add a...
I'm gonna add weight to it, okay? I just ask a buddy to come help, and now we're gonna increase our weight, increase our force. Does that make sense? And like I said, anyone can do that.
That's it.
Nice. Okay, second strongest part of this bar. You guys know what it is?
Fork.
It is the forks. We drive our forks in, we drive it in until the back of the door stop is in line with the crotch. So this is where our fulcrum lands. Okay, the length of the tip of the forks to the crotch is about 5 inches. Okay, how long does that cut my effort arm? If I took, this is a 30-inch bar, I take 5 inches off, now what do I have left? 25 inches as my effort arm, okay? Now when we drive the forks in and the fulcrum is here, normally the door lands about here. So same thing, it's only about 2 inches, that's my resistance arm. So if I divide 2 inches into 25, what do I get? 12.5 mechanical advantage. Okay, so you see how this gave me 15, this gives me 12.5. Okay, those are the two strongest part of my bar. Now the negative is even with this, how wide did I say this was again? 2 inches, that's all the spread I get. Okay, it's a lot of mechanical advantage at 15 to 1, but it's only 2 inches of spread. And then same here. Like when you put these forks flat on the ground, they only come off the ground, that's probably only like 1.5 inches. That might be all the spread that you get with them. Okay, maybe 2 at most.
1, 2, 3.
So not a lot of spread.
More.
Okay, but that's where the length of our adz might come in here. Okay, so how long did we say the length of our adz was again? 6 inches. Okay, so if I take, this is my resistance arm of 6 inches, and I divide that into my effort arm of 30 inches, what's that mechanical advantage? 5 to 1? So 5 to 1 mechanical advantage. You see how that's a lot less? But when I go to do this, now I get 6 inches of spread. And normally, if you spread a door 6 inches, you're gonna be in, okay? See how there's pros and cons here? I get a lot of force, not much spread, not much force, but a lot of spread. Okay, so pros and cons. Now if we talk about the length of the pick, guess what? It's the exact same as the adz, it's 6 inches. If I divide 6 inches into 30 inches, same thing, I get a 5 to 1 advantage. Just so you guys know, the pick is normally used on a technique called a baseball bat swing. And usually it's an inward opening door with a wooden jamb. And it is exactly what it sounds like. I'm gonna take this like a baseball bat and I'm gonna swing it into the jamb. Okay? And then once I do that, I have options here. I can push down, I can push my tool towards the door. Okay? Last thing I'm gonna talk about is the adz pick triangle. Okay, so that's literally when we're gonna use both the adze and the pick together. And when I do this, to get my resistance arm, I would measure the distance from, in this case it's the ground, up to this corner of the Halligan bar. And that is approximately 5 inches. Okay, if I take a 5-inch resistance arm and divide it into 30, what do I get? 6 to 1. Okay, so do you see how my adze pick triangle is just slightly more mechanical advantage than the length of my adze? And it doesn't seem like much, but sometimes that's literally all you need to pop a door.
There you go.
Is there any questions about mechanical advantage of the Halligan bar? All right.